Hello. So, just another random and spontaneous video. Trying to talk about something that can't really be spoken of. Words and language are also just appearances that flicker or arise within this. I suppose that's all we've got. That's all we've got, the words, language, stories. But there's something here a presence, an aliveness, an energy, a beingness that a newborn baby can sense. Or a cat, or a dog. But the newborn baby, cat or dog, doesn't have any words or language. So although it seems that I'm speaking words here that you're listening to, they mean nothing. They literally have no value at all. I mean, they have value to you, that imagined self-character. But what's being shared here is that there isn't a you or an imagined self-character. I mean, it's so obvious that all words and language is just made up. It's just learnt. We've been conditioned. These bodies have been conditioned from a young age through parenting, school, education, and our surroundings to believe. We've constructed multiple layers of beliefs. But what this is, so I'm pointing to this aliveness, you know that something's here, you know, that feeling that you exist, that existence. Well, it doesn't have any words or stories, yet all them can appear within it. So if you are new to the channel, what's being shared here, well, there's an attempt through words to communicate what this is, this existence, this beingness, and also the realization that there is no self. And when I say there is no self, that's where the message becomes very unpopular, because going back to what I said a moment ago about being conditioned from a very young age with beliefs, it seems that the majority of human bodies are overwhelmingly conditioned to believe that they are a self, that they are a character, they are that person with a name, a male or a female, a mum, a dad, a fireman, a policeman, whatever role. And the message here is that that is completely imagined. It's just a thought that arises now, here, in this. And it is, you know, I mean, it's been seen here through multiple glimpses or awakenings, no self-realizations, whatever you want to call it. And it is simple and very clear that, you know, if you just look in your direct seeing, you know, what is actually happening right now. Like, right now, what is actually happening versus what you think is happening. So without thoughts, labels, language, ideas, imagination, what is actually happening right now? And that's it. This is the existence I'm referring to. You see, what you think is happening is just thoughts. Words that you are putting meaning on and believing that narrative to be true, that mental narrative. But if this existence doesn't hold any value on words or thoughts or narrative, that then words, thoughts, and narrative are just an appearance that arise now within this. They have the same value as the sound of a dog barking, which comes and goes. And then this is always brand new, fresh aliveness, this energy continuously, I don't want to say continuously, it seems to be continuously changing in the unmoved. So it doesn't move. So yeah, it just seems that the majority of people are completely self-obsessed with that imagined thought character. And that was the case here, for decades. And I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong with it. My wife and children completely identified with their self. There's no judgment here. I mean, there's a sense here that, I would love for humanity to wake up to this dream or illusion. But then it's not down to me or you, because there is no me or you or them or others. I'm guessing most of the people watching this video kind of understand what I'm talking about. But I'm sure there'll be a few that I've got no idea maybe, and they're completely identified with that self-character. And it's difficult to talk about. I enjoy talking about it. It seems to be all I want to talk about. It's fascinating. But there is no self. There is no doer. That character that you believe you are, or when you look at another human body that you think you know, there's no one in that body either. It's all thought-based, imaginary. And, if that's seen clearly, it is fascinating. When it was seen here, it was humiliating. It was embarrassing. It was funny, hilarious, and it was quite scary and terrifying as well. But the fact that societal conditioning is so strong people are, I don't like using the word brainwashed, but that is exactly what is happening. You know, conditionings are probably a more of a friendlier word. And no one's at fault for that either. It's just happening by itself. So all these words that we've learned, all this language, and beliefs are just thoughts, ideas, imaginations arising now in this timelessness. There is no time. There's no labels. You know, there's nothing here. There's no one here. So if you look at an object, I always remember when I was, I'm guessing I must have been, I don't know, I was a young lad, 11, 12 years old. And I was eating a bowl of cereal in the morning, watching cartoons. And I don't know why I looked at the spoon, and it wasn't a spoon. How could it be a spoon? What, a spoon is just a word, a label that we've been conditioned to believe. It was unknown in that moment. That's how amazing this is. And these body, mind organisms, there's an intelligence at work, an unknown existence, and it's phenomenal. No words can get close to what this is that I'm pointing to, but it's all we have to communicate. Yeah, I'm not sure how many people are following this, but yeah, so the two things I tend to talk about in the videos are this existence, this aliveness that's always here, and the realization or recognition that there is no self, and there never was a self. It isn't there. Never was. So there is no doer of actions or thoughts or feelings. None of them are yours. You know, going back to the newborn baby, when born, there's no self, there's no me character in that body. And it's the same for you watching this as a grown adult. It's just that you have been conditioned to believe that you are a self character. So the body functions perfectly well without a controller. So the newborn baby breathing by itself, crying, moving its hands and fingers. It's the same with you. Your breathing happens by itself, your eyes blink by themselves, coughing, sneezing, everything, blood pumping around the body, digestive system working perfectly without you, because the you character isn't already there. So yeah, it's just a spontaneous random video. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. Just see what happens. So it does seem that this message cannot be understood. It can't be understood by the mind or through thinking. Because that mind or that thinking is the very tool that creates the separation, the illusion, the dream, the me character. And it seems that it's very rare. You know, I'm not claiming any specialness here or enlightenment, but there's just been a clear seeing here of this powerful insight, really, that there is no self. And it's been a very interesting and fascinating insight, because in society, you know, I live in the United Kingdom, and you know, we've got a busy life, family and career, and everyone around me is completely identified with the imagined self, so I can't really talk to anyone, and it doesn't work. It wouldn't work. You know, I've read all the spiritual books and been down all the rabbit holes, and it seems like this I'll call it an awakening. It's as though it shouldn't happen. It's as though I shouldn't say that, but it's as though I mean, most people that have this realization, I mean, I don't know this for certain, but it would seem that they're in communities where there's an awareness of it, in ashrams or monasteries or whatever, I don't know. But certainly here, to have this kind of sudden realization in the midst of a busy society and a family, friends, work colleagues around me, I felt completely isolated. Still do. And it's, I mean, you know, I love my own company. I actually prefer to be on my own now than around people. I've got no problem being around people, by the way. I can, perfectly function well, in a pub or in the gym or anywhere, in the office, at work, with people around me. I can function perfectly well, but it's when you've seen this, when this is being seen, it just seems a struggle. It just seems like an unnecessary effort a lot of the time. People comparing with others and talking about their stories of the past or what they're going to do, what the plans are for the future. And I know it sounds awful, this, but when you've had this realization and it's really obvious that this is all there is, there's no one here, there's nothing here. It's all that small talk is it's fucking unbearable sometimes. Just being honest, that's how it is here. And there's no interest here in telling my stories. I know I do it here occasionally, but I prefer to just talk about this, what's here, what's actually here, as opposed to what you think is happening or what you think's happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. So I find myself now, I don't really talk to people about my past or future, or because there isn't a past or future. So conversations become, I don't want to say, but almost meaningless. They become like sounds. It's just words. Go back to what I said at the beginning of the video. All the words are made up. So there's nothing actually happening. And there's no you to make anything happen. There's no you that's done anything. Because there's no doer. There's no self. But doing still happens. This is the strange part, really, because logically you could say, well, oh fuck it, I don't have to do anything then. But you can't do that. There's no you to choose that either. So this is the clear seeing that, well, time is an illusion, the future is an illusion, hope is an illusion, the past is an illusion. There's only this immediacy of whatever appears to be happening. There's always only ever this. So when that self falls away, or collapses, dissolves, evaporates, it's realized it was never there. Now, the body, it doesn't remove the body still carries on as it always has done. But there's just no you there anymore that's in control of it. Well, there never was. Excuse me. And then all seeking stops. So it seems that the seeking is the final thing to stop. So what happened here, again, this is a story appearing now in this, I think it was around June last year. Sorry, if anyone's watching the video, so it was June 2025 last year. It's now February 2026. Again, story appearing now in this. But, you know, just to talk about the story in time, it seems that like the seeking is the last thing to fall away completely. I mean, here it happened in stages. I mean, the clear seeing was just, that was instant. That was just like, it was just, you know, instant clarity of no self. But then the me character still continues. It's like the psychological self is like deconstructed after that major glimpse. And then it slowly evaporates until it's completely seen through. So, I mean, I work in sales and I used to always set goals. And, you know, if it was halfway through the month, if I was behind on the goal, I'd really push and strive and stress and struggle to trying to achieve that. I mean, all that's completely gone now. It's so obvious that there's no one in control of any outcome. And that's why I say that's the last thing to fall away, because the me character cannot handle that. It really thinks it's in control. The me character really, like, it feels so real, like you are in control of that body and you're in control of them sales, you're in control of this thing that you've got to do next week, or you was in control when that thing happened to you 2 years ago. It's all an illusion. There's no self. But these body-mind organisms are so conditioned to believe that they are in control and that they are a person. And that's just how society's been set up. And again, it's innocent. There's no one doing that either. It's just what's happening. But for some reason, in some bodies, and it seems to have happened here, that can be seen through. And there is a peace and a relaxation to it. But it's the, so going back to my sales career, if I was halfway through the month and I'd set a goal and I was falling behind, I was behind on that goal, then that's where suffering really occurred. So that was me resisting what is. That was me wanting this to be another way. And it's an absolute joke. When it's seen clearly, there's no you, there's no one in control, it can't be another way, because there's no future, there's no past, there's only this, there's only what's appearing to be happening. So it's game over. A life just flows as it does by itself, spontaneous. No one running the show. Because thoughts don't have any power. Unless you believe in that thought. So a thought arises here now and it's not believed. So if I'm halfway through a month now and it looks as though my sales are low, a thought may arise saying, get your ass into gear, you need to get some sales, you've got to hit that goal. There's no goal that's been set. I don't have to believe that thought, because the thought is an appearance arising now in this. The thought is exactly the same as a bird flying across the sky. It's an appearance, or the sound of a dog barking. Comes and it goes, it's gone. This is brand new now. You can't do anything, you're always only ever here. This is whole and complete as it is, it's perfect. It can't be any other way, however it appears. If that appears as suffering, then that's what's happening. And I know it's hard to believe. If you're watching this and you're completely identified with that person that you believe that you are, it can't be understood. It can't be really believed in. Well, it can't be. You can't grasp it with your mind. Well, there is no mind. That's the whole illusion. There's nothing here. There's nothing actually happening. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to achieve. You've never done anything wrong. You've never done anything right either. You can't fail and you can't succeed. They're just all things for the me character. And you do, if it is seen clearly, you do tend to see life as it is. And that could be just driving the car to the shop. I might jump in my car just to grab some milk and bread from the shop. And when you're driving, there's driving, that's it. There's driving a car, looking out the window and seeing whatever appears. That's actually all that exists in that moment. Whereas if you identify with the me character, all these thoughts are going on. You can actually drive to the shop and not even remember the drive. It's fucking insane. Because you're thinking about things of the past and the future, which don't even exist. There's nothing there. There's no, where's the past and the future in this? So it can become more enjoyable in that respect, because you're actually here, seeing what is, being here in the only thing that ever exists. Because time is only a thought that appears now in this. That was one of the big game changers here. The clear seeing, the realization that time isn't. And do you know, I think most people, like, I mean, deep down, everyone knows this, but again, this is the belief and the conditioning. It feels so real. Time is like, that's the big one. It's the big one here. But I've said it on previous videos, the identification with time is exactly the same as identification with that imagined me character. You cannot have one without the other. If the identification of time is removed, if you're locked here in this, there's nowhere for the self to appear. That imagined me character cannot be here in this. It can only live in time. So, and it's the same if you can remove the identification of the imagined me character, then where's time? It's the same. Both completely illusory, both completely imagined, both never existed. So suffering is the resistance to what is. Suffering is identification with time. Suffering is identification with the imagined me character. There's no suffering here. So this timeless existence, this energy, this aliveness, this unknown beingness, no one knows what this is. Where's the suffering here? You know, going back to what I said, and I know, you know, you might be in a difficult situation. Even your surroundings might be challenging, or you might feel a threat from someone or something nearby or whatever. But again, if you actually, in direct seeing what is actually happening versus what you think is happening, it's game over. What's actually happening in direct seeing with your vision, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, all your sensations, even thoughts and feelings. But there's a recognition that the thoughts, they're not actually happening, and they're not yours anyway. What you think is happening is never actually what is happening. That's probably a clearer way of saying that. So whatever idea or what you think is going on, what you think is happening, what you're imagining is not actually happening. And there's your freedom and your liberation. So that's all that's being shared in my videos. I'm not offering any advice or teaching anyone to do anything, because that would, that's just how could that even be? There's no one in this body, there's no one in your body. Words are just happening, hearing's just happening. You can never not be in this. This is always here. You can't mess it up. You can't take a wrong turn. Even if it seems in your story that in the past you've done something bad, or I don't know, you've lost someone close to you, or addictions have happened, or I don't know, financial crisis, illnesses, this existence, this unknown aliveness has never not been there. So you can't look back at your life and say, oh yeah, in my 20s I was very much, I was in the now. I was present, I was in the now, I was happy. But when I got to about 28, 29, the presence wasn't with me. I was lost. You've never been lost. This has never not been. So when I say there's nothing happening and there's no one here and there's nothing here, it's really hard to talk about this unless you've really had any glimpses or clear seeing. But this is completely empty. There is nothing here. There's no one here. Yet it can appear as everything. Like, this is colourless, soundless, motionless. Yet it can appear as all the colours, all the sounds, all the movement. It can appear as anything. But what I'm referring to is that in which everything appears, all experiences. People use the word love a lot to describe this emptiness. It gets really tricky when you talk about this, because what's being shared here is whatever is happening, whatever appears, is this. So whatever appears, there's an existence that's here always, and the experience that arises within it is this. I don't want to say the word love, but it's the peace, it's the stillness, it's the silence. It's always here. So whatever arises, whatever experience happens, even if it appears to be painful or suffering or barbaric, sick and twisted, it's still this. It's still just this unknown existence appearing as that. And that's why a lot of non-dual speakers get themselves in trouble or tie themselves in knots talking about unconditional love. And I get it, I understand it, because it's always just this, however it appears. But it's not to deny that dreadful things happen. But like I said before, it's never not this. So if you look back at your story of your life, whether it's dreadful things or really good things that have happened, it's all just this. So yeah, the seeking, that was I was saying before, the seeking seems to be the final thing that stops, because you can't arrive here, you can't get to this, it's already this. So the seeking it's a pain, it's a pain in the arse really, because the seeking just keeps you on a hamster wheel, keeps you looking for something other than this, which is impossible. So what you're actually looking for, what you're searching for, is the end of the one who's searching. But that one who's searching isn't there. That's the joke. It is funny. It's tragic in a way as well. It's a bit sad, but it is hilarious, because everyone is seeking something, but there's no seeker and there's no thing to seek. And that's why I say it was here anyway. That was the final thing. That was like the last hurdle, because even after the glimpses, there was still seeking happening here. But there was a recognition that, hold on a minute, that's just a thought arising now in this. This is timeless. Then eventually that softens, loses its power, and then completely starts to fall away. And then it becomes undeniable that you can't do anything. There's no one here. There's no one to control any outcome. And I've mentioned the lack of motivation. It seems to be coming back a bit actually, which, well, just what's happening. But when it's undeniable that there's no one inside your body making choices, there's no doer, there's no others, there's no you, me, them, then, you're not believing in that mental narrative. And that's where motivation comes from, believing in that mental narrative. So if that's not believed anymore, then naturally, well, motivation would fall away. I'm not saying that's a rule, by the way. That might not happen to other people that have had a clear seeing of this. It's just what's happened here. You know, I'm sure there's self-realized people out there that are completely motivated. Don't know. So this that I'm talking about it's not really to be understood. It can't be understood with words. It's just a notice. It's a noticing of what is already. And I can only say that believing in the mental narrative and the story and believing in that me character is an illusion. Now, whether you believe that or not, it's just how it is. It can feel so real. You know, that was the case here for decades. It is like a magic trick, though. It's a hell of an illusion. But once it's been seen clearly, you can't unsee it. There's nowhere to get to. There's nowhere to go. There's just this. Still, silent. And it can appear as fast movement and loud noise. But none of it's happening to you or me or them others. There's no one here. No one's ever done anything. Yeah, thanks for watching.